Fuck. 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 Yo, what did you just click on? Nah, don't scroll. Don't you dare scroll. Because if you do, you go right back to sleep. And this right here, this is the thing they pray you never hear. This video in 3 countries is forbidden. They don't want you to see it. Not because it's illegal, but because it's dangerous. Dangerous to the system, dangerous to the lies, dangerous to the version of you they've been controlling your entire life. You ever notice how the moment you start thinking differently, everything around you starts pushing back? People get uncomfortable, friends disappear. Suddenly you're too much, too intense, too different. No, you're just awake. And let me tell you something they'll never admit. They didn't build this world for people like you. They built it for the obedient, the quiet, the ones who nod, agree, follow, and never question a damn thing. But you question everything, and that makes you a problem. You see, they don't fear the loud ones. They don't fear the angry ones. They fear the silent ones, the ones who observe, who learn, who endure. Because when a silent person finally snaps, it's not noise, it's not chaos, it's calculated destruction. You've been through things you don't even talk about, pain that would have shattered most people. But you adapted, you evolved. While they were laughing, you were learning. While they were doubting, you were building something inside you they couldn't see. And now they feel it, that shift, that energy, that presence. You don't even have to speak anymore, and they're already uncomfortable. Why? Because deep down, they know. They know you're not the same person they underestimated. They know something inside you survived, something stronger than pain, stronger than betrayal, something unbreakable. But here's the part they fear the most. You don't need them anymore. Not their validation, not their approval, not their permission. You stopped begging to be understood and started becoming something that doesn't need to be explained. That's when the game changes. That's when the power shifts. Because the moment you realize you were never weak, just untrained, never lost, just misdirected, never broken, just reforged, you become unstoppable. And that terrifies them, because now they can't predict you, they can't control you, they can't stop you. You're not reacting anymore, you're deciding. Every move, every step, every silence, intentional. You're not chasing anymore. You're attracting, not proving, just being. And that version of you, that quiet, dangerous, focused version, that's the one they tried to bury. But guess what? It didn't die. It was waiting, growing, watching, becoming. So let them doubt you. Let them misunderstand you. Let them walk away. Because the truth is, they weren't built to walk this path with you. This path, it's lonely, it's dark, it's unforgiving. But it creates something rare, something powerful, something they can't copy, can't fake, can't replicate. You. Not the version they knew, not the version they controlled, the real one. And once that version fully wakes up, it's over. Not for you, for them. And you feel it now, don't you? That pressure in your chest, that fire you can't explain, that voice in your head that refuses to stay quiet anymore. Yeah, that's not anger, that's awakening. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Once you feel your power, you can't go back to being weak. Once your mind breaks out of their cage, there is no returning to that comfortable little illusion they built for you. And that's why it feels heavy. That's why some nights hit different. That's why you sit in silence sometimes, staring at nothing, but thinking about everything. You're not lost. You're transforming. But transformation? It's not pretty. It's not motivational quotes and happy endings. It's pain. It's isolation. It's becoming someone even you don't recognize at first. And that scares you. Because the old you was safe. The old you was accepted. The old you fit in. But that version of you, that version was dying slowly, day by day, pretending to be okay just to keep others comfortable. Nah, not anymore. Now you're choosing truth over comfort, growth over approval, power over validation. And that choice? It comes with a cost. You're gonna outgrow people. You're gonna see through fake smiles. You're gonna realize that some of the ones you trusted the most only loved the version of you they could control. Let that sink in. They didn't love you. They loved access to you. They loved the version that stayed quiet, stayed small, stayed predictable. But now you've changed the script, and suddenly, you're different. Suddenly, you're too much. Suddenly, they don't recognize you anymore. Good. You weren't meant to be recognized by people who never truly saw you in the first place. You weren't meant to stay in spaces that required you to shrink just to belong. You weren't meant to play a role in someone else's story when you were born to write your own. So yeah, it's gonna get lonely. There will be moments where you question everything, moments where you almost go back, just for the comfort, just for the familiarity. But listen carefully. Comfort is the most dangerous prison that exists. Because it doesn't look like chains. It looks like normal. It feels like safe. But it slowly kills your potential, your ambition, your purpose, and you. You weren't built for normal. You were built to disrupt, to challenge, to rise when everything tells you to stay down. That's why your path feels different. That's why it's harder. Because you're not following, you're leading. Even when nobody's watching, even when nobody claps, even when nobody believes. And that's the real test. Can you keep going when there's no validation? Can you stay focused when distractions are everywhere? Can you believe in yourself when the world gives you every reason not to? Because if you survive this phase, this dark, silent, lonely phase, you won't just succeed. You'll become something they can't even comprehend. You'll move different, think different, operate on a level that doesn't require noise, doesn't require attention, doesn't require approval. And that's when it happens, the shift, the moment where everything clicks, where the pain makes sense, where the struggle becomes strength, where the silence becomes power. And suddenly, you're not chasing life anymore. Life starts chasing you. Opportunities, respect, energy, all flowing toward you. Because you became the kind of person that attracts it without begging. But don't get it twisted. This isn't the end. This is just the beginning of a version of you that doesn't break under pressure, doesn't fold under fear, doesn't disappear when things get hard. This is the version of you they tried to prevent. The version they labeled dangerous. And now it's too late to stop it. Because once you've awakened this side of yourself, it doesn't go back to sleep. It only grows stronger, more focused, more disciplined, more unstoppable. So stand in it. Own it. Embrace it. And now, this is where most people break. Not at the beginning, not when it's obvious, but right here, in the middle of the storm, when you've already lost who you used to be, but you haven't fully become who you're meant to be yet, that in between. That's the most dangerous place to exist. Because it's confusing, it's silent, it feels like nothing is working. Like all this pain, all this discipline, all this isolation is leading nowhere. And this is exactly where they expect you to quit. This is where average people turn around, run back to comfort, and rebuild the same weak life they tried to escape. But you didn't come this far just to crawl back into a cage you already outgrew. Nah. Look at yourself. Look at what you've survived. Look at the nights you thought you wouldn't make it through. The pressure that tried to crush you. The voices that told you to stop, to settle, to give up. And yet, you're still here, still standing, still fighting, still becoming. That's not normal. That's not luck. That's something inside you that refuses to die. And now it's demanding more discipline, more focus, more sacrifice. Because at this level, talent means nothing. Motivation, useless. Feelings, irrelevant. This is where identity is built. This is where you stop trying and start becoming. You don't wake up asking, "Do I feel like it today?" You wake up and execute. You don't wait for the perfect moment. You create it. You don't depend on people to believe in you, because you've already seen what happens when you rely on others. They hesitate, they doubt, they disappear. But you move regardless, even when it's boring, even when it's painful, even when it feels like nothing is changing, because you understand something most people never will. Consistency in silence creates explosions in reality. And while they're chasing shortcuts, chasing validation, chasing attention, you're building something invisible, something solid, something that doesn't collapse under pressure, brick by brick, day by day. No applause, no recognition, just work. And that's what separates you, not hype, not noise, not talking, execution. Relentless, disciplined, focused execution. You've entered a level where excuses sound pathetic, where distractions feel like poison, where comfort becomes your enemy. And yeah, it gets extreme. You start cutting things off without hesitation. People, habits, mindsets, anything that slows you down, anything that weakens your focus. Gone. No explanations, no guilt. Because you finally understand. Everything has a price. And greatness demands everything. Your time, your energy, your comfort, your old identity. It takes it all and replaces it with something far more dangerous. Clarity. And once you have clarity, you become untouchable. Because now, you know exactly who you are. Exactly what you want. Exactly what you're willing to sacrifice to get there. No confusion, no hesitation, no second guessing. Just direction. And that scares people, because most people drift through life, reacting, surviving, hoping things magically change. But you've taken control. You've stepped out of the crowd, out of the noise, out of the illusion, and you've become intentional. Every move calculated, every decision aligned, every step forward. And now there's no stopping you, not because you're the strongest, not because you're the smartest, but because you're the most committed. And commitment beats everything. So when it gets hard again, and it will, when the pressure comes back, and it will, when doubt tries to creep in again, and it will. Remember this version of you, the one who refused to quit, the one who chose growth over comfort, the one who kept going when nobody was watching. That version, that's the real you. And once that version takes full control, it's not just over for them, it's over for every limit that ever tried to define you. And now, you've reached the point no one prepares you for. The point where you're no longer chasing, but you're not celebrating either. You're just locked in, no noise, no announcements, no need to prove anything to anyone. Because deep down, you already know. You know who you're becoming. And that certainty, that's more powerful than motivation will ever be. See? In the beginning, you needed hype. You needed those loud words, those emotional pushes, that external fire to get you moving. But now it's internal, cold, calm, controlled, dangerous. You don't react the same anymore. Things that used to trigger you, they don't even reach you now. Disrespect, ignored, doubt, irrelevant, opinions, meaningless. Because when you finally understand your path, everything that isn't aligned with it becomes invisible. And that's when people start to panic. Not because you're loud, but because you've gone silent. You stopped explaining yourself, stopped defending yourself, stopped trying to be understood. And silence makes people uncomfortable. Because they can't read you anymore. They can't predict you. They can't control the narrative. You've become unreadable. And that's power. Real power isn't loud. It doesn't beg for attention. It doesn't chase validation. It moves in silence and hits like a storm. And while they're still talking about what they plan to do, you've already done it. While they're waiting for the right time, you've created momentum they can't catch. While they're still stuck in cycles, you've broken out completely. But don't get comfortable here either, because this level demands mastery, not just discipline, not just focus, but control over your entire self, your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions. Because at this stage, one wrong move, one moment of weakness, can pull you back into everything you escaped, and you've come too far for that. So you sharpen yourself. Every day, mentally, physically, emotionally. You analyze your own patterns, you catch your own excuses, you correct yourself before the world even notices. That's a different kind of discipline. That's self-mastery. And once you reach that, you stop competing, because there's no one left to compete with. They're still playing checkers. You're playing a completely different game. A game where patience wins, where silence speaks, where actions echo louder than any words ever could. And now the results start showing, not all at once, not in some loud, explosive moment, but slowly, quietly, inevitably. Your life starts shifting, opportunities appear, doors open, people who once ignored you suddenly notice you. But here's the difference now. You don't get distracted by it, because you didn't build all this just to fall for attention again. You built this to become untouchable, focused, grounded, unshakable. And that's exactly what you're becoming. So when they come back, and they will, when they try to reconnect, to understand, to be part of what you've built, you won't react with emotion. You'll respond with clarity. Because you remember who was there and who wasn't. You remember the silence, the doubt, the absence. And now you don't hate them. You just outgrew them. No anger, no resentment, just distance. Because growth requires separation, and you chose growth. So keep going, stay locked in, stay focused, stay dangerous. Because what you're building right now, it's not just success. It's a version of you that can't be broken, can't be manipulated, can't be stopped. And once that version is fully formed, there's no going back, no slowing down, no limits, just elevation, just domination, just you, at a level they will never understand.